It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Trying to figure out what to eat in order to lose weight, stay fit, and remain healthy can be a daunting task. There is so much conflicting information being presented that it's hard to know the best approach. Joining us today to help us sort through the confusion is Dr. Mark Hyman, author of the new book, Food, What the Heck Should I Eat? Dr. Hyman is an 11-time New York Times bestselling author and an internationally recognized leader, speaker, educator, and advocate in the field of functional medicine. He is a director of the Cleveland Clinic Center for Functional Medicine and founder and director of the UltraWellness Center. Dr. Hyman is the medical editor of the Huffington Post and a regular medical contributor for CBS This Morning, Good Morning America, CNN, The Dr. Oz Show, and more. Welcome, Dr. Hyman. Thanks for joining us.
I'm so glad to be here with you.
So, Doctor, your new book, Food, What the Heck Should I Eat?, is based on the reality that most people have absolutely no idea what to eat for health and well-being. Just when we think we have it figured out, we're given new information that often conflicts with what we're taught. So why are we so confused, and why are there so many theories?
Well, we are confused because of a whole set of reasons. One, nutrition science is challenging because it's hard to study what people eat in open living environments. Mm-hmm. If you put them in a lab, and like a lab rat, you could figure it out, but humans don't like to live in labs as lab rats, so we have to base it on population studies, which aren't really good at proving cause and effect and are often wrong. And we also have corrupt science, where we've got food industry publishing all sorts of research that contradicts common sense of, for example, that soda causes obesity and diabetes, but Coca-Cola funds studies that show there's no link. And it's rampant. And we also have the government giving dietary guidelines that actually don't represent science, but represent corporate interests and ignore huge amounts of data on important issues like low-carb diets or saturated fat, for example. And those are undergoing revision now, which is a good thing. And we also have a lot of public health organizations that we rely on, like the American College of Cardiology, Heart Association, Diabetic Association, Nutrition, Dietetic Association, all of which are funded in part by the food industry, which corrupts their recommendations. And I think all those reasons lead to confusion, along with the media jumping on every latest scientific study and reporting it as if they're all equal, saying, coconut oil's bad, coconut oil's good, meat's bad, meat's good. It's very confusing for people. And I think all those reasons lead to this confusion. And my book is really designed to go through all that, help people understand what we know in 2018, what the science is, and how we can sort through exactly what to eat.
If you could sum it up, what should our daily diet look like?
Well, I jokingly call it a pagan diet, which is not to say we need another diet plan. Mm-hmm. And it was really as a spoof on the whole extremism of paleo and vegan, and trying to sort of come up with what are the principles that everybody can kind of agree on, regardless of what their nutritional philosophy is, and what are the things that, we can kind of come to consensus. So the first thing is everybody in the nutrition world agrees that sugar and starch, pretty much everybody, there's a few holdouts on the low-fat, eat hard-carb diet people, but there's very, very few. Is stay away from high glycemic foods, sugar or starchy foods. They're seen as treats, not as staples. The second is we should be eating a very plant-rich diet, not plant-based, but plant-rich, meaning we eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, and things that are high in phytonutrients, particularly the colorful variety of vegetables, mostly vegetables. Also in terms of fruit, there are fruitarians, but I think there's challenges with that, particularly if you think that 70% of Americans are overweight. Fruit can be high glycemic. And so moderate amounts of fruit, it should be, 5 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables, but it should be more vegetables and fruit, probably 7 servings of veggies and 2 servings of fruit. And then the next thing is we want to eat healthy fats. We want to include really good fats in our diet, omega-3 fats, avocados, nuts and seeds, olive oil. even, grass-fed meats, whole eggs, and ghee, coconut oil. All those things are really, really great.
So, doctor, the diet plan that you just described, for someone who's trying to lose weight, if we follow that type of plan, will we naturally lose weight? Because we've been taught that we need to eat less and exercise more, but if we eat the right types of foods, can we actually increase the amount of food that we eat and still lose weight?
Absolutely. I think the biggest myth and the biggest crime perpetrated on our population is that we should eat less and exercise more to lose weight. And the truth is that not all calories are the same. If you ask a kindergarten kid if you ate 21 cups of broccoli or a big gulp, are they the same? And they'll probably go, no. But that is exactly what our government and, of course, the food industry tell us, that there's no difference in calories. It's all about moderation. But we know now that food is far more than calories, that it's information, that it's instructions, that literally codes your biology. So when you eat sugar and starch calories, they change your hormones and metabolism, and they drive up insulin, which causes you to gain weight, to be hungry, to slow your metabolism, and to prevent the fat from being released from the fat cells. Whereas if you eat a high-fat diet, you actually reduce your hunger. You increase your metabolism. You release fat from the fat cells, and you have all these positive benefits. I just met a guy last night who walked by me and says, I did your plan. I ate a really, really high-fat diet, cut all the starch. I lost 18 pounds. It completely contradicts our notion of what's possible, because we think we eat high-fat. It's got a lot of calories per gram, more than twice as much as carbohydrates or protein. So if we eat less fat, we lose weight. It's not an energy problem. It's a hormonal problem. It's a metabolism issue. So we have to completely rethink our approach to weight.
And I think that's such an important point, because I know in my own life, my approach was always, and it used to work when I was younger, it doesn't work anymore, but the approach was, if I wanted to lose weight, I wouldn't eat breakfast. Maybe I would grab a bagel midday, not eat the rest of the day, and then say to myself, why am I not losing weight? I only ate 500 calories today, but it wasn't working. Yeah. And I think many people are just as guilty as the approach that I took.
Absolutely. It's really true. We think we eat less, it'll work. But what happens is our bodies are accommodating to starvation far more than to excess. So we're good at slowing our metabolism down, shutting down systems. So when you restrict calories, 1, you're miserable. 2, you're hungry. 3, your metabolism slows down. And 4, you sabotage your weight loss. And you can white knuckle it for a little while, but ultimately you can't. So there was a recent study published looking at a completely restricted, calorie-restricted, low-fat diet compared to an unrestricted high-fat diet, which was low in starch and sugar, over a year's period. And the group that had the unrestricted diet, meaning they could eat as much as they want, as opposed to the other group that had to shut down their calorie content, the group that could eat as much as they want, high-fat, not only lost far more weight, but their numbers all got better, their cholesterol, their blood sugar, their insulin. It was very impressive.
Well, and I know for myself, I'm actually tired of going on these quote-unquote diets and plans and losing the weight and going off, and that whole cycle. I keep saying to myself, I need to just figure it out and eat normally and create a new normal, because I don't want to keep doing these plans, and I want to get off that hamster wheel that isn't working.
Right, and that's what I talk about in the book through What the Heck Should I Eat. I talk about the pagan diet, as I was mentioning, and it's just principles to live by. They're not hard and fast rules. So it's the eat a plant-rich diet. It's cut out the starch and sugar. It's eat more healthy fats. Stay away from refined foods and oils, particularly the seed and nut oils. Stay away from pesticides, hormones, antibiotics, GMO. If you're going to eat meat, eat sustainably raised meat, and think of it as a side dish. If you're going to have dairy, have sheep or goat, because others are inflammatory. Just avoid dairy altogether. Avoid gluten when you can, because it creates leaky gut in everybody, and have small amounts of weird grains like quinoa or black rice or teff or buckwheat. And for beans, they can be helpful for some, but also they're very starchy. So to get the same amount of protein you get in 6 ounces of chicken or fish, you need 3 cups of beans that come with 100 grams of carbs. So there's all sorts of approaches to sort of simplifying things, and it's just a series of principles that make a lot of sense, that are based on science, that everybody can follow and have a lot of flexibility.
Doctor, you just mentioned gluten, and that seems to be a new buzzword today. Everybody's talking about a gluten-free diet. Is this just a fad, or is gluten really a problem?
Well, here's the deal. The wheat we eat isn't the wheat we ate, right? So historically, people probably tolerate it better for a number of reasons. 1, the gluten and the wheat were different, and I'll explain that in a minute. 2, our guts have changed so much that we become more prone to issues around leaky gut and damage to our gut. So our wheat's different because we hybridized it. We bred it to have certain properties like drought resistance, but also we bred it to have higher content of starch. So basically, wheat has got more sort of glycemic index than sugar. Like it's literally worse than table sugar. And then, of course, we have the high levels of gluten proteins in that because you hybridize plants, you actually get more gluten, and they're more inflammatory forms of gluten, which definitely cause leaky gut. Even if you're healthy, they can slightly damage your gut, which most of us can tolerate, but many can't, who have autoimmune disease, have inflammation of any kind. The third reason is that we spray our current wheat crops with glyphosate if they're not organic. And glyphosate is a potent toxin, carcinogen, and also has been shown to dramatically affect the gut flora and potentially cause cancer and many, many other things. And then we do that before we harvest the wheat, so it's right on the food, and we then get that in our diet. And the fourth reason is that there's something called calcium propionate that's used as a preservative that's shown to cause autism in animal models because it's a neurotoxin, and this is in all preserved wheat products. So there's a lot of reasons not to eat gluten and wheat. Some people may tolerate, traditional rye or einkorn wheat or other forms of traditional barley, but I would say, we do often, have issues in our population with chronic disease, with inflammation, with gut issues. So anybody who's got any kind of chronic issue, has any kind of symptoms, it's the first thing I do, get them off gluten and dairy. So I think there are gluten-free grains that can be helpful, but I think it is a real problem. I see this clinically.
Doctor, do we really need to buy organic? How important is that?
Well, no. Yes and no is the answer. I mean, ideally, yes, but it's expensive for some, and I think the changes in our food system will come to make that less expensive. However, there are guides. For example, I'm on the board of the Environmental Working Group, and there's a great guide called The Dirty Dozen and The Clean 15. And the Dirty Dozen is the 12 most contaminated fruits and vegetables that you never want to eat if they're not organic. And the Clean 15 are ones that don't have to be organic and don't have a lot of pesticide residues. So, for example, strawberries are one of the worst in terms of pesticide residues. So you want to have those organic. Whereas, for example, avocados or bananas, not such a big deal in terms of organic. So I think this is really important for people to understand that there are ways to, on a budget, minimize your exposure to pesticides and toxins. And we do know that it's not just the one dose here and there that's a problem. It's the accumulated lifelong exposure to a host of chemicals in our environment, in our food, in our household cleaning products, in our skincare products, in our water, in our air, that create a cumulative burden of toxicity that over time leads to everything from metabolic diseases like diabetes, obesity, heart disease, to autoimmune diseases, to Alzheimer's, to allergy and asthmatic diseases. So we really need to be vigilant in terms of reducing our exposures, but we don't have to be crazy about it.
The book is Food, What the Heck Should I Eat by Dr. Mark Hyman. If you would like to get more information about the book or Dr. Hyman, you can visit foodthebook.com. Doctor, in our final moments, what's the takeaway? What would you like to leave our listeners with?
Well, I want them to feel hopeful because, I think people are having their heads spin like The Exorcist, like Linda, because there's just so much competing information and opinions out there. But I want to give people a sense of food, peace, and security. And in the book, I go through what are the controversies? What do we know? What do we don't know? How do we look at the science around all of this? And then what can we just do practically to keep our bodies healthy, to keep our planet healthy, and to do the right thing? And I think it's very simple. Each chapter is basically about a food group like meat or poultry or fish or vegetables or fruit or grains and beans. And I go through all the issues. And at the end, I go, here's what you should eat and here's what you shouldn't eat. Uh-huh. That's really it. And it's super easy and it's very practical. And there's recipes and there's a meal plan. And I think it's important for people to understand that they can be empowered to do things in a way that they promote health. And then just to remind them that the best doctor in the room is your own body. It's going to tell you what works, what doesn't work. And that is the main thing. If you eat something and you don't feel good, pay attention. Most people don't connect what they eat with how they feel. And that's why part of the book, I have a 10-day detox, which gives people a chance to reset and reboot their biology. And at the end of that, they go, God, my arthritis is gone. My brain fog is gone. My joint pain's better. My irritable bowel is gone. I'm sleeping better. My congestion's gone. My acne is getting better. My eczema is better. Like, people will identify these things. And then you can go, oh, it's what I was eating.
Doctor, thank you so much for joining us and for helping us sort through this maze of information. As you said, if we follow some of these basic principles, we can get off that hamster wheel and stop our head from spinning. So I really appreciate you spending time with us. Thank you.
Of course.
This is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Stay with us. We'll be right back. for joining us. I hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, CYACYL.com. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read our digital magazine, take part in the book club, check out our team, and be sure to follow the show on social media. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.